The Rockets had an incredible season. It comes to an end last night, as so many great seasons have, up against Steph Curry and the Warriors.
The season ended in silence. Not the silence of surrender, but the kind that lingers when belief falls just short.
Last summer, you guys made basically no major changes to the roster, and the team still got better. This summer, what do you see as the path to improvement? Continuity or changes?
That continuity is good, no doubt. But you've seen teams make a lot of moves, and they feel like they need to get over the hump, and Doncic is added or Butler is added, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we always felt comfortable about what we had here and that we take this step this year.
You like a small or a medium or a large?
The question hung in the air like Gulf Coast humidity. Continuity or change? The answer came slowly, in glimpses.
You know, the goal ultimately is to build a championship team, and if we think that there's a move or a series of moves that make it more likely we will be that, then we would ignore continuity and we'd do those moves.
Actually, this lucky. That's today's special.
Oh, you got the special.
Got the card button, and then bam.
It's everybody's goal to be better and come back better, and that was the main message that we went away with, is the things we've done that got us to this point, but we all have to come back better, and this is a huge offseason for everybody.
The front office kept quiet. The media did not.
Reed Shepherd, who was a top 3 pick in this last year's draft, didn't have a role in this team. He would have incredible value in trade. Jabari Smith Jr. is a very good young big man. He would have a lot of value in trade. To be honest with you, almost nobody could match what the Rockets have to trade and the quality of the team that they have. That combination is why potentially a star player would have interest in them. Tax-free state, good weather. There's a lot to like about the Rockets.
Every name on the roster became a chess piece. The internet ran with it.
So the first one is Kevin Durant. That is obvious. Yeah. If we all know where this Rockets team struggled, it was offensively. They could not buy a bucket at times. KD fixes that. And the good news is that you have a lot of young core pieces like Jabari Smith Jr., Jalen Green, that might be attracted to other places, and you have options with your picks moving forward. Now, the other one that I'm manifesting, if there's a shot at Giannis, I feel like that would be a good fit as well. I mean, obviously, it's Giannis. He's a walking 30-12 on 60% shooting.
I'm having so much fun this summer. It's going to be the greatest offseason of all time. Yeah.
Giannis plus Ime Udoka and the way they play is a scary future for a franchise.
It's probably already come across, but this team as a whole, like the group of guys to come in every day and work with is just great. It's just great. And yeah, I thought both Tari and Jabari in particular had really hard years with injuries and just growing pains of various sorts, and they both handled it so well. Yeah, I'm very appreciative of them and their effort, and very excited about where, the direction I think they're both headed.
If you give up a Tari Eason, who he's going to be in the NBA. I don't think he's going to be a whole hell of a lot more than that. Could he be a starter on some teams in this league? Sure. But offensively, I have questions. Thinking the game out, making smart decisions, I have questions.
Tari's injuries concern me too.
That too. We don't know what that leg thing is.
Plus, you also, you have to make a decision on him soon about a contract.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockets have a bunch of young players. You're going to have to let some of them go. You're going to have to level up at some point.
You can't get a bucket. You had to run around him.
We're here giving back to the community and talking about mental health. It's the last day of Mental Health Awareness Month. And you know what I'm saying? It's good to go out there and talk to the youth and tell them that it's okay to express their feelings. It's okay to talk about their feelings, and be open about it.
You're not getting a bucket. 2, 3, that's too many dribbles. That's too many dribbles. You're not getting a bucket. No. Check up. It's hand off me.
I've seen this quite a bit from other places too, but Spears is speculating that the Celtics and others are going to overhaul their team. Spears is the one who specifically mentioned the Rockets and the Spurs could help them in that overhaul.
They're talking about Porzingis. They're talking about Holiday. They're talking about Brown.
You don't like Brown?
he disappeared. Talk about disappears in big games.
He doesn't have a left hand either.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't. I have buyer beware on anything with Jaylen Brown, especially at $60 million a year.
That's a lot.
Tonight, the U.S. Senate has confirmed Houston Rockets owner and CEO of Landry's, Tillman Fertitta, to be the U.S. ambassador to Italy. He also said if confirmed, he would step down as CEO of Landry's, but maintain his ownership stake in the Rockets.
You have bird rights to potentially bring Steven Adams back. What did you all think of his growth throughout this season, and what's the interest in potentially bringing him back for next year and beyond?
I think Steven was the player and person that we thought we were trading for. He's a really important part of the group, and kind of the continuity I talked about and value earlier. He's an important part of that.
Steven Adams stayed. The front court anchor.
I mean, they got to box him out with two people. And, I hate playing with him in the practices, so I'm sure other teams hate him too. So he give me a lot of space when two buddies got to box him out, and I go over there, and he does the hard job. I do the easy job out there and clean up, So it just impacting a lot for us, and defensively too.
There is traction around trade scenarios for Kevin Durant, and there are some teams that are motivated to get this deal done sooner rather than later. The focus of the Suns' conversations as of the last 24 hours has been around the Houston Rockets, San Antonio Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves, Miami Heat, and the New York Knicks. And Durant is on an expiring contract for upwards of $50 million.
Ime Udoka, courted by New York, stayed in Houston. Was he motivated by loyalty, unfinished business, or both?
Now, Ime Udoka is one of the best coaches in the NBA. This brother's something special. What about the New York Knicks reaching out to Houston, right? I got a text. You don't have enough. They said you couldn't pay us enough. Ime Udoka ain't going anywhere. You understand? But to me, Wendy, it's about that Jalen Green. Listen, the brother is young and ultra talented. Molly, he seems a bit distracted. If you're Houston, with the changes that are going on, with the Wild Wild West being what it is, with the inordinate amount of teams that are in legitimate positions to compete, you can't afford to stand still. They need a professional. They need somebody like KD. One guy for Ime Udoka to evolve everything around. Give him that one star. That brother can get everything you need out of everybody else. But the face cannot be Jalen Green. He's just not ready yet.
There's a decent amount of lineup data that suggests that this team has performed better without Jalen Green on the court this season. How much do you incorporate that kind of data into your decision-making process moving forward, be it roster construction, coaching decisions, that kind of thing?
That's a really flawed question. I would say that some of our very best lineups include him, and so that piece by itself, I just think that's just not correct.
Shams, what is the latest on Kevin Durant?
The latest on Kevin Durant is the Suns are in active trade conversations with multiple teams, mostly focused on the Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But as I reported over the weekend, he has a preferred destinations list as well, and that's Miami, San Antonio, and Houston.
Is there anything that you need to be better at? Like when you say you need to be better, what are you referencing? Is there anything in particular?
Just being aggressive. Can't let a team take me out of the game. No matter what the scheme is. I got to continue to go out there, be myself, and I just didn't do that.
Jalen Green, I think it's safe to say he needs to get ready to pack his bags. If you're the Houston Rockets, you have to be looking to move him.
Jalen Green is at that level where he's not comfortable in his skin. He's still trying to find out what type of player he wants to be, right? I don't know if I make a move.
You wouldn't trade Green.
I would trade Green.
No.
I would.
Listen, the reason I won't trade him is because he's so raw. I'm going to give him 1 or 2 more years to see what he can turn into.
Only way you consider moving a guy like Jalen Green is if you have a real chance at going to get a Ja Morant or Kevin Durant or one of these guys that are obvious franchise changers. Other than that, you stay put. You hold your cards where you are. You have a nice young nucleus. Granted, he did struggle in these playoffs, but it was his first introduction. You know, imagine if the Lakers turned their backs on Kobe when he played how he played against the Utah Jazz when he was such a young player.
Then came the explosion. At Fanatics Fest. Mid-interview.
You just got traded! Seems like there is a huge report that has just taken place about KD's destination. I believe that KD has been traded to the Houston Rockets. God damn it!
In exchange for Durant, Phoenix will receive a package that includes Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, and the number 10 overall pick in this year's draft and 5 second-round picks.
Jalen Green, the face of the rebuild, the promise of tomorrow, was gone. So was Dillon Brooks. Defensive pest and locker room wildcard. In return, a 14-time All-Star with 2 Finals MVPs, and a resume as complicated as it is historic. Kevin Durant has never belonged to any one team. He's collected jerseys like scalps. Each stop brilliant, each departure bruised. He's forced his way into every situation he's wanted. And this summer, he chose Houston.
Well, did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
I think this is exactly what they needed, Lance. They needed a guy who could come in and get a bucket at any time that you need a bucket.
Alperen is, he's not really a go-to consistent, we need a bucket, let's just get the ball to Alperen. We know Jalen wasn't that guy. Amen's not there yet. Kevin Durant can get you shots. He can help you in the half court. He can score. I have to wait until we hit April and May and I find out if he's healthy. Because if he's not healthy, none of this matters.
Well,
this is a lost trade.
I gotta get a bucket here. I gotta get a bucket.
Left behind, Jabari Smith Jr. Young, long, and still carving his place. He would regain his place as a starter on a team that's been reshaped again.
In regards to Amen, just being in the gym with him every day, how would you quantify his growth, particularly on the offensive end, and what's possible for him on that end?
Yeah, I mean, he's a extremely hard worker, a grinder like all of our guys are. We never had to complain about that, of guys not putting in the work, and so he views himself as one of the best, if not the best, at what he's trying to be, and there's no real ceiling for him. He's going to continue to ascend like that.
At just 21, Amen Thompson has the body of a wing, the vision of a point guard, and the fire of a player who knows what's at stake. A twin born into competition, forged in battles with his brother in gyms, playgrounds, and driveways.
What would Asar say is his favorite meal?
Salmon, in and out, but I'm gonna say salmon.
What would Amen say is his favorite meal?
He's gonna say chicken.
What's your favorite meal?
It's chicken.
What would Asar say was the worst worst thing he ever did as a kid?
Asar was a pretty chill kid. I don't know, so I didn't do a lot. A nicer kid than Amen.
What was the worst thing you ever did as a kid?
He'd probably say fight. I didn't fight for real, I just wrestled. Amen was an aggressive child. He used to try to hurt me.
I beat him a couple times, you know, and one thing about Amen back then, he wouldn't leave until he like won, but I would never let him win. I was winning and I was tired. I'm trying to go home, and he's like, "Nah, we're not going home." I'm like, "I'm about to go home," and he's, you know, threw the ball at me. You know, I turn around, right? Yo, my ear was ringing.
Come on, man.
So many people at the park. Yeah, you know, I don't remember what happened after that. We probably started fighting. I don't remember, but I remember that for the rest of my life. Nothing hurt that bad, ever. I felt disrespected. I felt nah, it's not cool. You shouldn't even have reminded me, because now I'm gonna do it to him.
What was the last time you beat him one-on-one?
The more recent, a couple months ago. The last one-on-one game, he beat me.
Amen and Ozar, the Thompson twins, grew up in basketball's backrooms. AAU circuits, overtime elite. Now, they've committed to the Jamaican national team.
Ever since I was a kid, you know, I used to watch the Olympics and see Usain Bolt, Blake, and I always was like, you know, Jamaica always represent gold medal, Coach again. And it's always been like a dream. I always wanted to see a basketball team. You know, I always wanted to picture, you know, basketball players with the Jamaican jersey on, and I've always wanted to wear one too. So being able to be here and even it be an option, you know, means a lot to me.
Amen Thompson's going to be an all-star next year. He only started starting, I think, when Jabari Smith Jr. went down with an injury, like 60 games into the year or 50 games into the year. So from there, he just blossomed. A lot of us at the end of last season were like, this dude's the future of the program.
Yeah, wow.
And then to see that kind of come to fruition, we were like, yeah, like this dude's something else.
Bloke.
Unbelievable guy. And again, I do not compliment this guy to his face. I love to hang shit on Amen Thompson, and he knows it too.
In a summer of change, Amen didn't just stay. He surged forward. A blur with purpose. A leader in the making. KD brings the experience. Adams brings the presence. VanVleet brings the voice. Sengun brings the tempo. But Amen Thompson, he might just bring the future. This is what rebirth looks like. Messy, emotional, necessary. Houston didn't run it back. They rewrote the script.
Jamaica, we have a bobsled team. We have the one Derek and the one Junior. You brother and the man Tanka. The fastest of Jamaican sprinters. Respect to the man Herb Blitzer.